Today we're going to learn a little bit about the NERIC Service Portal. To begin, we're going to log in as a demo user, Judith Caller, and we're just going to click Login. We're going to focus on two things, how to create requests and how to report incidents. And before we get into those two items, we're going to take a moment and just explain what we mean between a request and an incident and what the differences are between the two. An incident is any unplanned interruption to an IT service. Things like my computer won't turn on, or I can't connect to a printer, or I can't access a website. Things that you were able to do once before and suddenly are not able to do. That's generally what an IT incident refers to. And then everything else essentially is a request. Okay, so if you need information on a product or service, if you have a question about how to do something, how to use an application, if you need access to a particular product or service, if you need some type of task done, whether it be IT related or otherwise, these are all things that would fall under the umbrella of a request. So now that we've kind of established that, let's get into how we can create these two different tasks or go about doing so. First, we have request. So to create a request, we just click request something. Once we click that, we're brought to the general request form. And right out of the gate, we note that there are some fields in here that are required and some that aren't. The ones that are required have an asterisk in front of them. And also required fields are indicated on the side here. And as you complete the fields, the names will disappear from this list. So we note that some fields have been pre-populated for you based on your login information. So in this case, we're logged in as Judith Caller. So the name was populated, the district was populated, and the site was populated. Now, let's say, for instance, Judith, was submitting a request on behalf of another user. Could she do that from here? Yes, she can do that from here. All she would need to do is come up to her name and go to the X here and just delete her name, and she can type in the name of another user. It's as simple as that. Comes up in the list. You start with the first name and then the last name, and alternately from that, you can also click the drop down and you'll get a list of employees or staffers within the district, and you can select accordingly. Okay, and you can do the same thing with the school district. You can change that out. You can select from a drop down. Right, you can type in the name and select your district. You can also do that with the school building. You can select from a drop down, or you can type it in. Next, we have location. Location is a free text field, and it's used basically to provide some details as to where you are in the building or where the request is needed in the building. There are situations nowadays where people are working remotely, or they're not working at their primary work site. Maybe they're away on business, maybe they're telecommuting. So we've added an option here called I am working remotely today. If you check this box, basically what's going to happen is the site and location fields will gray out, and they will no longer be required. Okay, and by checking this box, you're basically informing the agent or the support team that this request is going to go to, that you're not at your regular job location. And generally, it's best practice that if you do check that box, that you put something, indication in the description field as to how they can go about getting a hold of you. Okay. Next, we need to pick the service that's related to this request. So Judith would like to request a demo of GoGuardian, which is an application that NERIC sells to districts. I already know, because I looked this up, that GoGuardian is found under non-instructional software. That's the service area. And the service offering you can find here. There's a whole bunch. Just scroll down to GoGuardian. You can also just type in GoGuardian and it'll come up in the list. Now we've picked our service and our service offering. So what if you don't know where your particular service is in the NERIC catalog? Well, we have a link here to a knowledge base article that we've created for this purpose, and you just click that link and it will open in a new tab and you'll have the complete list of NERIC services and service offering. You'll also note that it also lists the owner or primary contact of the specific service and service offering, and also the assignment group that supports that service. Going back to our form, you see it was in a separate tab, so it's just easy to go right back. Now we need to enter a short description, which is basically just a one-sentence description of the request. You're going to use the next space to describe your need area to add any additional details that are pertinent to the request that you think the fulfillers or the agents or the support teams might need in order to process the request. Okay. In addition, you can add attachments. So if you have screenshots or documents or pictures or pretty much any kind of file that's relevant to the request, you can just click Add Attachments. A window will open on your computer. You can select the file to upload from your computer and it'll appear there at the bottom. And once it's in here, there's a couple of things you can do. If you click the pencil icon here, you can edit the name. Just hit enter, and now the name has been changed on the attachment. If by chance you uploaded an attachment by mistake, you can always come over here and just click the X and the attachment will be deleted. Now that you've completed the form, we can go ahead and click submit. So now that we've clicked submit, we see that we've been our request has been assigned a ticket number. We have a timestamp as to when it was submitted, and then we have some details on the request. So if we click general request here, we can see some of the information that we put in. We see there was an attachment. We can see when Judith created the ticket. Judith can post additional comments to the ticket. If there are updates to the request or additional pieces of information that need to be added, she can add additional attachments. She can see existing attachments. She can also modify those attachments like we did before. We can change the name. We can delete the attachment. Again, attach other attachments right from the screen. So you see there's still some modification you can do to a request once you've submitted it. We can also review the details. So these are the answers to the questions that she had put in. Let's say Judith, logged out of the system. She came back maybe an hour later and she just wanted to check on the status of her ticket. So now she's back here at the home screen. So how can she go about looking up the old ticket? Well, she can basically go up to the upper right hand corner here and click My Requests, and she'll see a listing of all of her current open requests. Okay, and here's the one we just put in. Okay, just verify it. There's all the information. Okay, so what else can we do here from My Requests? You can change the view and see close requests as well. So if there's anything out there that was completed or she needs to refer to it for any reason, she can go there. All right, we'll just come back to the home menu. So that's pretty much how you submit a request. Next, we have how to create an incident. Okay, so very similar to request. We have another tile down here called incident. You just click that, and that brings you to the create a new incident form. All right, now, because incidents are meant only for unplanned IT service outages, we put a little disclaimer here just to kind of remind you of that fact, along with the definition. And just give you a couple of examples of what we mean by an IT outage. It's by no means limited to just these options. It's just, they're just there to kind of give you an idea of what we're getting at, okay? If by chance you clicked create new incident and you really meant to go to a request, you can click general request here, and that'll take you to the back to the request form. Okay, So just come back to home here, and we'll click incident again to get back to where we were. Okay, so if you're confident this is definitely an incident, and you want to proceed with reporting an incident and an IT outage, you just click this box here saying I wish to proceed, and you'll see that you'll be presented with similar fields to what you saw in request. The same rules govern this form as well. There are some required fields that are marked by an asterisk, and also we have a list of the required fields here. So, and again, as you complete them, they'll be cleared off of this list. But you will not be able to submit an incident or even a request if all the required fields are not completed. Note that some of the fields are already pre-populated. You see the caller is already here, along with their district and the site. Again, if Judith wanted to report an incident on behalf of someone else, she can, just like in request, she can come here and change the name. Search box, you can look them up, and she can use the drop down. Okay. Okay. You can do the same thing with district, and you can do the same thing with site. Right. We need to indicate a location. So in this case, we'll do room 232 again. Next, we have urgency. Basically, we have three options. Unable to work. You can't do your job until this particular incident or issue is resolved. Okay, so that's the highest priority. Okay, and then followed by inconvenience, where maybe you have a temporary workaround. And then finally, we have inquiry, which is there in case you're not really sure if it's an incident. You're just kind of asking, saying, hey, listen, I was trying to get on the web today, and I noticed I couldn't get to a website. Is something down? Is something broken? I don't know. I'm just trying to draw your attention to it. In this particular case, we're going to report that teachers can't access their gradebooks this morning. That would be an unable to work situation. Okay, it's for the student management system that's used by this district, which in this scenario is School Tool. So we're going to come here to Service, and we'll come down here and we'll see we have school management systems, and then the service offering is School Tool. So we'll just pick that from the list here. If you're not sure where to find the service offering you're looking for, you can click the article link here and open up that knowledge base article again. You need to put in a short description. Then we need to put in a description. If there are screenshots, maybe they have a screenshot of the error, they just click add attachments and click the attachment they want, and it gets attached here. You can edit the name if they need to, or they can delete the attachment as well just by clicking the X. And when they're satisfied that there are no more required fields, you can just go ahead and hit submit. And we get a similar screen like we did for request. We have an incident number, see our details. We see what Judith has done. This is the activity stream. She can put additional comments here. It gets assigned to a technician. If they put comments into the ticket, those will show up here as well, so they can come back and refer to it later. She can see any attachments that she's put on there. She can add additional attachments. She can edit the attachment. She can remove the attachment. And in addition to that, if the incident gets resolved on its own, maybe they do it internally and they don't need the technician anymore, they can come up here and just click resolve incident, and that will essentially close it out. Let's say Judith logged out and she logged back in an hour later and she wanted to see a status of the ticket. She can just go to my requests and she can see her ticket is right there. She can go and get some updates there. She can put a comment in, post, boom, it's immediately in there. That's pretty much all there is to creating an incident. We've taught you how to do two very common tasks. So we've learned how to submit a request and how to report an incident. If you have any questions at all about the NERIC Service Portal or any part of it, or anything we've covered today, please feel free to contact the NERIC ServiceNow team. Thank you for your time, and we hope you found this video informative.